Today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful stories ever written, George Orwell's Animal Farm. It all starts with this amazing dream of independence, a world where animals are in charge for the benefit of all animals. But as you'll see, it's also a pretty terrifying look at how easily that dream can turn into an absolute nightmare.
And really, this is the question that kicks the whole thing off. It sounds simple, right? But it opens up these huge, complicated ideas about power, about corruption, and what revolution really means. What would it actually look like if you could build a society from scratch, totally free from human control?
So, before any revolution can happen, you need a reason to rebel. And for the animals on Manor Farm, well, the reasons were everywhere. It was just a miserable day-to-day reality for them.
These are the words of Old Major, a wise old pig who was the first to really put words to the suffering that all the animals felt. You see, life under their human farmer, Mr. Jones, wasn't just tough. It was a system designed to exploit them completely. They did all the work, made all the stuff, the milk, the eggs, but they only got back just enough food to stay alive. Their whole life was about being useful to humans, and that brutal truth is what set the stage for their desperate search for freedom.
And so, it all started with a dream. One night, Old Major gets everyone together and shares this vision he had, a future with no humans at all. Think about it, this wasn't just another complaint. It was the first time they ever heard a real alternative, a picture of a world where they could actually be their own masters. That one speech was the spark that lit the fire.
Now, a good revolution isn't just about what you're fighting for, it's also about knowing exactly who you're fighting against. To get everyone on the same page and really focus their anger, the animals had to define their one single enemy. And this right here was Old Major's core message. He didn't just call man an oppressor, he called him a parasite. And wow, was that a powerful idea. It made everything so simple and clear for the animals. All of their problems, the hunger, the hard work, the short lives, it all came from one source. Get rid of that source, and paradise was sure to follow. So, to make absolutely sure they would never become the enemy, they created these unbreakable rules, basically a complete rejection of everything human. Their entire new identity was built on being the exact opposite of man. And those last two rules? Those were the heart and soul of their new world, no tyrants and total equality.
And then it happens. The rebellion is a success, Mr. Jones is chased off the farm, and Animal Farm is born. Their long fight for independence worked, they finally got their paradise, or have they?
In those first amazing days of freedom, their whole new way of life was boiled down into this one super simple chant. It was easy enough for every single animal to remember and repeat, from the smartest pig to the dumbest sheep. It became the sound of their unity, a constant reminder that animals are friends and humans are the enemy.
And this is where the story takes that dark, tragic turn. Because that initial joy of being free and working together starts to crack. It turns out, running a society is complicated, and with power comes the temptation to use it for yourself. This is such a brilliant moment because it shows you exactly how it all starts to go wrong. It didn't start with whips and chains, it started with an excuse. The pigs, being the clever ones, they argued they needed the extra food to manage the farm. For the good of everyone, of course. But this was the very first time one group decided they were more important than the others, and that single act shattered the whole idea of equality.
That one small act of selfishness started this downward spiral of corruption that would eventually just tear down the whole dream. Bit by bit, that rejection of all things human started to fade away, and it was replaced by something chillingly familiar. Can you imagine how shocking this must have been? The pigs start adopting the single biggest trait of their old oppressors. Walking on two legs was the ultimate symbol of being human, and now their own leaders were doing it. The line between animal and man was starting to get really, really blurry.
So how do you justify that? Well, you start to twist the truth itself. The great slogan of the revolution gets a little edit. By adding just one word, better, the pigs twisted the language of freedom to serve their own hunger for power. And the sheep, well, they just bleated the new slogan with the same passion as the old one. And this is the most famous, most chilling change of all. The absolute core belief of the entire revolution, the sacred promise that every animal was equal, gets officially rewritten. This one sentence makes the new hierarchy official, cementing the pigs as a ruling class and everyone else as their subjects.
The dream was now officially dead.
The story ends with the other animals looking through a window, and what they see is the pigs playing cards and drinking with human farmers. The revolution had come full circle. The new bosses, who started it all to get away from human tyranny, had become the exact same thing as the oppressors they fought so hard to overthrow.
And that leaves us with the story's big, timeless question. Animal Farm is this incredible warning that if you're not careful, if you don't hold power accountable, the fight for liberty can end not in freedom, but just with a new set of masters.